Hey guys, it's Chey. Welcome to the channel if you are new, and if you're not, hey boo. So in today's video, I decided to play with some new products. Your girl has been shopping, so it is time to play with a lot of goodies. I have so many goodies, including the new one size full beat foundation. I also have the matching sponge to go along with it. I also have new setting powders, new blush, bronzer, all of that jazz. So if you like it here, if you like my vibe, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, okay? And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into this full face of new makeup. Okay guys, so we are starting with the brows already done. If you want to see a brow tutorial, it is on my TikTok, so follow me there. We're going to go ahead and get into this eye look. I'm taking the P.LOUISE base in RUMOUR number 5. Honestly, I could have just used my concealer, but I love the P.LOUISE base, so we're just going to buff that all over the lid. And I got a new eyeshadow palette. I picked up the BPERFECT ULTIMATTES eyeshadow palette, and she is new. I love the BPERFECT formula, so I had to get a palette full of neutral browns. Okay, so I'm starting with this shade. It's called Copper, and what I love about this palette is that these colors are actually like brown. Okay, I have some of the P.LOUISE palettes and their browns lean more like purpley or like pinky tone, but these are true browns, so I'm just buffing that all over the crease, and it is such a beautiful transition color. Next, I'm taking the shade Coffee, and it is just a little bit deeper just to give me some dimension, but I'm literally just like buffing it a little bit into the outer V. For eyeshadow, I'm taking this liquid one from e.l.f. and this is in the shade Comet, and this is such a beautiful reflective like champagne gold. Honestly, I feel like I'm gonna need to add this to my makeup kit because this is like a universal shade that will work on all skin tones, and who doesn't love a great shimmer? But to set that liquid eyeshadow, I'm taking the LUNAR Beauty Nude Prism, and I'm going to be using the shade called Expose, which is more of a gold, and we're just going to add that on top, and it is such a beautiful color. So I'm going to go ahead and add some liner. I'm not doing a wing, but I am doing my liner in a diagonal, just to help the lash line look more fuller when I pop on lashes. This is just the e.l.f. liquid liner. It's literally like $3 or $4, so you can't go wrong with this liner. So I'm just taking my time and lining the lash line. And for lashes, I think I got these off of SHEIN, and these are super cute. So while that's drying down, I'm going to prime the face using the DANESSA MYRICKS Blurring Balm Powder in Universal. And I'm using a brush to apply my primer. And then this is the same brush I'm also going to use to do my foundation. As you can see, your girl has some heavy under eye bags, so we need to color correct that. So I'm taking the e.l.f. color corrector in orange and applying that underneath the eyes and on the mouth. And just to help so we don't look like a Oompa Loompa, I'm adding my NATASHA DENONA HYGLAM concealer, just to make sure everything's nice and even. So to blend that out, I'm taking the new one size oiloid sponge, and she is very bouncy, very soft, and it honestly felt like I was holding like a computer mouse. And I'm just going to go ahead and blend her out. And as you can see, it is evening out those areas that I did have like darkness. So I definitely have to color correct because yeah, we want to look flawless for the foundation today. And I'm just going to go ahead and clean up underneath the eye, make sure it's like nice and sharp with that concealer and color corrector. I'm popping on the lashes. I always like to place it first in the middle with the tweezers, and then I like to just go in and use my hands to apply the inner and outer corners. and this is such a cute lash. Now we are on to the star of the show, which is the new One Size Full Beat foundation, and you really want to make sure that you shake her up, and she gives a good healthy amount of foundation. That's one pump. So I'm going to go ahead and dot that on the skin. As you can see, this is definitely a neutral color. I do have like neutral olive golden tones. This does seem like a slightly smidge dark, but it really evened out the skin, and I just love the coverage on here, and it really does still look like skin. It is definitely full coverage, so you can see the before and the after. So I used, I want to say, about a pump and a half all over the face, and using a brush really helps give you that full coverage look, and that is what I was going for. So the face is looking snatched, and just to soak up any extra product, I'm taking that sponge and just going over the face. That way I can make sure that my face looks smooth. And yeah, so now we're on to cream bronzer. This is the Pink Honey BFF face frosting in chocolate fondue. I believe in my last video I was using hazelnut, but I like this one because it's definitely more on the neutral side. It's not as warm, and when it's more neutral, it does help to sculpt my face more without being too dark, and it just melts into the skin. So I'm also using that shade to do my nose contour, and like I said, this formula just really melts into the skin. I did order their new face frosting. I got a new shade, so I'm ready for that to come in. That way we can compare the old to the new formula to see if there's a difference, but this shade really snatches up the nose. And then I'm just going to apply that on my lip line just to enhance my lip shape, because with foundation my top lip gets lost. Okay, so now I'm taking that same NATASHA DENONA concealer, and I am a full coverage girly, so if this is too much concealer for you, then don't mix your concealer and color corrector and add more. But I like to just take my concealer and sculpt it underneath the cheek just because I want my face nice and snatched. I'm taking this a One Size concealer, and it is definitely more brightening and it's more golden, and I'm going to use that for my inner corner pop. And this is more of a matte formula, so you don't want to leave this foundation, you don't want to leave that concealer on the skin for too long because it does dry down. So I am just blending for my life right now, just trying to get everything nice and blended so I can go underneath the eyes, but everything meshed really well. But I will say, because of the foundation and probably the primer I used, the products I used on top were drying down a little bit faster. So if you have more dry skin and you're watching this, definitely spray your face with like a dewy setting mist. But for me, this worked out pretty well, and it gave me that full coverage look that I love. And I'm just making sure I kind of clean up and wing the under eyes just so that I get that lifted effect. So, but I didn't have any problems blending that concealer. I'm taking this Made by Mitchell liquid blush. This is in the shade Posey Rosy, and I love how bubblegum pink this shade is. Like I said, my products on the base were drying down a little bit fast, so I did have to kind of work a little bit.
I ain't even gotta ask. I can see.
What? How's it looking?
It's looking good.
You think so? What's it giving? Is it giving surgery?
No, it's good.
What's it giving? It's giving fuck me. Okay. So Bae just had to come in and steal the show a little bit, but I'm adding more blush just because I want my blush to pop, and I love that this formula is blendable. So now we are on to some new powders. This is the BPERFECT times Katie Daley. This is called the Perfect Powder. So you know I had to get my hands on it. I love the packaging, how when you open up, it gives you like that exclusive feel. I love the shape of this powder, and I am blending it in, and I did tap off the excess, but as you can see, this is definitely a brightening powder. It's really finely milled as well, and as you can see, it is so smoothing and blurring, and you can barely see like my under eye bags. I mean, she is smooth, honey, okay? So I'm just blending the other side, and I'm just pressing everything in, and this is in the shade Honeycomb. I probably could have even gotten the darker yellow, but I'm glad that I got Honeycomb. It's very similar to the Huda Beauty Banana Bread. Maybe just a smidge more brightening, but I'm just setting all the areas with concealer, and now I'm just going in with powder bronzer. I'm taking the Sephora Collection bronzer in Ibiza. I love how warm this bronzer is, and I honestly need to use her more, and it really complemented that cream bronzer. So I'm just setting those areas. And don't forget that jawline and drag it down to the neck. I'm also using that bronzer for my nose contour, and I'm just making sure I run it through the crease just to make sure everything's nice and blended. So yeah, just doing that nose contour, and then once I have that done, I'm taking a little bit of that bronzer just to connect the eye and the temples together so that everything flows, and she's looking snatched, honey. So now it's time to bake. I am an oily skin girl, so baking for me is a must, and I use that same powder to clean up the underneath the cheeks just to bake. I always bake under here, and this is the true test to like see if this is gonna give any flashback or anything like that. So I'm just baking, and then we are on to blush. I got these blushes from SHEIN, and this is their Care Bear blushes. And how cute is this packaging? This is in the shade Tickled Pink, and it's a beautiful like mauve shade. I love colors like this, and honestly, this blush is like a perfect everyday pinky blush on me, or for like other skin tones as well. And I just love how soft and pretty it is. It definitely was giving me all the girly vibes. So I'm just taking those two brown shades, Copper and Coffee, running it underneath the lash line. And I did take a tiny bit of black just on the outer lash line. And now I'm dusting off that powder, and as you can see, it is definitely a brightening powder. So yeah, I would not bake underneath the cheek with this one again, but that's just an easy fix. I'm actually going to go ahead and take my powder foundation from One Size. I am in the shade Dark One Golden, and I'm just going to use that to dust off that powder and just to set any areas around the face. That way everything blends nicely and is fully set. I'm taking a clean brush and dusting off that under eye, and as you can see, that is a bright under eye, so I didn't even need to use like a brightening like setting powder, because this one was everything that I needed. Okay, so literally, if you love a good bright under eye, that one from BPERFECT is the one you need. Now I'm just taking this NYX brow lift and snatch, I think it's like a lighter brown shade, brunette, and just doing that for my brows. I found this brand on TikTok. It's called Eloise, and I love this blush palette. It's so beautiful. Now I'm mixing these two shades, and this is kind of a glowy blush. Honestly, I could have left it matte, but I love how skin-like this blush meshed with this look. And just to refresh the skin, I'm taking this Morphe setting spray in coconut and really spraying the face. That way we don't look super powdery, we look just skin-like and glowing. And speaking of glow, I'm taking this Beauty Bay Golden Glow Brick Highlighter Palette. I don't think that they sell this anymore, but I've had this in my collection and it was time to use her. So adding that highlight onto the nose. And then in my P.LOUISE budget box, I got these lip liners, and these are all nude shades. And these are 5 of the shades that I swatched. They're all brown, just different undertones. But I'm taking this one in the middle, and I'm going to use that to line the lips. And it's such a beautiful brown. It's a little bit lighter than Masterpiece, but it's so pretty. And once I have my lips lined, I'm taking this Kylie Cosmetics liquid lipstick in the shade Kylie. And I'm adding some NYX Butter Gloss in Madeline. And that is the face. She is giving beat. She is giving flawless, okay? Thank you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.